And a good Friday, everybody. Welcome in. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. He is Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Nick Frazier. Dr. Crane on the ones and twos. Keezer's even back there. Wave to the people, Keezer. There you go.
Got a full house,
Yeah,
baby.
it's good.
It's a Friday party.
It is a Friday party. And we have a fantastic show planned for you today, including we're going to catch up with local NASCAR driver, Hendersonville's very own Josh Berry, who's going to be a rookie in the NASCAR Cup Series. They're in L.A., the Clash at the Coliseum. They've put a racetrack inside the L.A. Coliseum. They'll race this weekend in that, and then the Daytona 500 in a couple of weeks.
Is that bigger than Bristol? Same size, smaller size?
Oh, it's smaller. It's a quarter mile.
Okay.
I mean, think about the football field inside of the L.A. Coliseum. They built a track on top of the football field.
But they've got that big, huge end zone at
Yeah.
the Coliseum.
And they take up every bit of it. But no, it's more like a quarter mile. Have you heard of Bowman Gray Stadium?
I have not.
So it's in North Carolina. It's a football stadium, but it has a racetrack in it.
Oh,
and
that's
so
cool.
that's essentially what it is.
Oh, nice. I would love that because it's like driving in Nashville. I mean, you're nailing dudes left and right, and you're loving it, right? I mean, there's a lot
no.
of – right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Copy.
Watch your mouth.
I'll paste it later.
Watch your mouth. But that would be – I would love to do that. I couldn't do the Daytona – I'd fall asleep. Daytona 500, I'd fall asleep.
no, you wouldn't.
Yeah. 30 laps in. I got 800 miles to go. I'm out.
No, you wouldn't.
You
I'm
need
with
to
Chase. You
okay.
wouldn't.
So you need to watch. I just started watching it last night. Netflix has this new special, this NASCAR thing. It's like 5 episodes, and it's following the drivers last year in the playoffs.
Okay.
It's pretty cool, like because you're kind of getting that. We love that behind the scenes look at.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's a guy that I've always like. I knew he was opinionated, and I kind of liked him, but after watching 2 episodes, I like him even more, and that's Denny Hamlin. That dude is like a, come take it from me. Like he has that attitude.
Well, good then.
You know?
Yeah.
So-
I'd like to run into Denny Hamlin on the track.
He'd wreck you.
Look, I've been driving Nashville traffic for a long time, man. I'm good.
He had the best line last year. He won at Bristol, I guess it was, and he was getting booed because he's just, for whatever reason, fans don't like him. He's polarizing. And he says in the interview that goes out on TV and through the racetrack, he says, "I just beat your favorite driver." and the
Who did he beat?
The interviewer goes, which one? He goes, all of them.
Oh
And walks off.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, what a
What
line.
car does he drive?
The number 11 for Coach Joe Gibbs.
And that's sponsored by.
A lot of sponsors, but FedEx has been his big sponsor.
All
So,
right, good. You got to get that sponsor in, Chaser.
yeah. So
Got
Fred
to.
Smith and company doing
Fred Smith and company.
doing the good things.
Yeah, they are doing the good things. All right, what's the name of the series on
Uh,
Netflix?
I forget. It's
Rubbing and
NASCAR. No, NASCAR Full Speed or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah. So go check it out.
Would you rather drive Bristol or Daytona 500?
Oh, Bristol.
Absolutely.
It'd be
But
fun.
let me ask you why.
Because Rubbin's racing,
There you go, baby.
beating and banging.
Daytona, I was like, gosh.
I mean,
man, so long.
Daytona is like a different type of thrill. Like Daytona is basically you can put a piece of paper in between the 2 cars and hope for
I
the
like
best.
how you dramatically did that in the studio with your hand.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, we got the cameras here.
All right, I'll check it out, man.
So the Titans coaching staff is starting to come together. Looks like they are going to hire Bill Callahan to be the offensive line coach, which I didn't think Cleveland was going to stand in the way of that.
I was hoping they would.
It would have been such a
Just a little drama
Richard
there.
move. Morning that Nick Holt, is it Holes or Holtz?
Holes, I believe, yes.
Who's been the passing game coordinator with Jacksonville, is going to be the new OC for the Titans. Reunited with his high school football teammate Brian Callahan.
Nice.
Holes also coached for Bill Callahan. So I think, at Nebraska. So he's joining the staff. Not that, I mean, look, the offensive coordinator is important, but we know that Brian Callahan's going to call plays. So, that was obviously the thought there. Denard Wilson going to be the defensive coordinator. Tyke Tolbert going to be the receivers coach. So it's all coming together.
It is, and I guess so. I'm trying to look at Holtz. He was at UNLV for a while. UNLV did a lot of recruiting in Middleton. I wonder if he was part of that. Did a lot of recruiting of high school guys. They took a running back out of Gallatin. They took a big lineman out of Oakland High School back when he was there. So maybe he's got a little, unofficial, indirect tie to the Middle Tennessee area. But look, this hire, he's got to be a guy that's going to come in and do you want him to challenge Callahan? I think that's what I would want out of a quote-unquote OC who's not going to call any plays, but challenge the head coach in a very respectful way of like, hey, maybe we do this and do that and be open to those things, then I'm on board. If he's just coming here and not going to, and Callahan, then I would not have taken that job.
Yeah, the thing that I guess my only thought here is it's a young staff. I mean, Bill Callahan is the senior guy that you're bringing in, which is fine. I mean, he's a former head coach, both in college and in the NFL, coached in a Super Bowl. I know Jared's going to be at the Super Bowl next week. Rich Gannon's going to be coming on the show, so I'd be curious to hear Rich Gannon's thoughts on all of this. But, I'm a little worried about that you just don't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
But sometimes that works. And Amy Adams Strunk made it pretty clear that she was ready to hit the reset button, and that's what they're doing. And I think what the fan base needs to be ready for is if you're 3-14 next year, don't get mad about that.
Flag that, will you, Nick?
Yeah, I mean,
Titans fans will lose their what.
But it's the truth, right?
If they go, they're like, we fired Vrabel to go 3 games backwards. Oh, Titans fans will be livid.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to – there's a lot of stuff they're going to have to figure out. Now, I heard Robbie and Rexro talking this morning. Do you trade for T. Higgins? I'm not giving up the 7th overall pick for T. Higgins.
No, not at all.
And I don't think they're saying that either. Next year's first, okay, we can talk about it. Preferably a second. I'm not giving him Jeffrey Simmons. And I'm really not even thinking about it. I heard some texters say, Harold Landry, do you throw him in there? I don't think you need to rob Peter to pay Paul when you have 2 really good game-changing receivers that are probably going to be sitting there at 7.
I think it's paramount they get a left tackle. I just think it's paramount. I mean, you got a quarterback you can build off of, but I just think you need to go get a left tackle, man. And there's a couple good ones that are out there. And if the one that you really want sitting there at number 7, then grab him. If there's one you think's going to be there at 15, then you got to roll the dice and see if there's at 15. But I'm telling you, we saw this year, and we've known for a long time how important an offensive line is. But go ahead and get that left tackle who you could hope could be there 10 to 12 years. And there's a couple in this draft.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. Brian Callahan, when he sat down with Jared last week, he didn't rule out playing Skoronski at left tackle. Now, he did say we kind of identified him as a guard, thought that he had more of the attributes as a guard, which, it was really refreshing that he actually said that instead of the former head coach that would just basically look at us like we're all idiots and, never even – like give a specification. Would just be like, we think he's a guard. Like, okay, great. Why do you think he's a guard?
Well, how they got to evaluate this guy within the next 2 months. I mean, are they allowed to work him out? I mean, are they allowed
they can watch film. I mean, because my guess is, I could be wrong, my guess is that last year they did line him up at tackle and we just never saw it. I mean, I would think that they were thorough enough to do that at some point in time.
So, yeah.
And so if that's the case, then they got the film on that.
Yeah, I know. I think if you go ahead and plant a good left tackle there, keep Skoronski at left guard. I mean, now you're building blocks.
But like Trevor Matich the other day on Stillman and Company said that in his evaluation, he thinks that, okay, yeah, if you're sitting there at 7 and Joe Alt's there, then okay, that's a sure thing because he's ready. Like he's day one.
Yeah.
You plug him in day one,
yeah,
and you feel good about it. But there are other tackles in this draft that you could get, later on that he feels are NFL caliber tackles. They may need some development. Mims out of Georgia is one that I think he mentioned.
They don't need to take any more Georgia offensive linemen for a while.
Well, I mean, but if you really like one of those receivers at 7,
right,
and they just blow you away, I don't think that's a bad pick. And then you go get the tackle in the second round.
I'm curious to see first-round receivers in their first year. How because there was a stat a couple of years ago that they were not very productive in their first year, overwhelmingly. Now there's a couple. Jamar Chase was good in his first year. There's a couple here and there that are good, but
that's a good question.
Overwhelmingly, they're not.
Harris or not Harris. The what's his name in Minnesota? Jefferson.
Yeah.
He was pretty good his rookie year.
Jordan Addison as well this year.
Yeah, Addison's been good. Well, because Jefferson was hurt. So.
Right, but still, he filled in pretty well.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Let's go look at that. But
well, I mean, if they could move back to 15 and pick up more draft choices and
so you're in favor of that.
If it's a gamble, man, but fortune does favor the bold. So you could go back and drop to 15-ish, whatever, 16, get the tackle, grab a fourth rounder from whoever you trade with, and
if Odunze or Neighbors are not there at 7, I would then trade back. If one of them is there, I'm taking one of them.
So you're not taking
right now. Right now, today, no. I think. I mean, I know how important the offensive line is.
Right.
I do.
Yeah.
But that game-changing receiver, especially in an offense that you're going to hypothetically be throwing the ball more, I think is.
I can see
that. I mean, look, I know that Will Levis is not Joe Burrow, but you need to surround him with Jamar Chases and T. Higgins and players like that.
Well, the good news is free agency, they can possibly identify a good left tackle and sign that good left tackle, and then you're good. And then you go in the draft, trade back to 15, get a receiver, stock up some more things, and go. Free agency is going to dictate and determine a lot of this, I think.
Yeah.
Big time.
I agree with that. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, we'll have our usual Predators visit. Bill Wickett going to join us from the Nashville Predators about some cool things they have going on as the All-Star break is here. Chris Sanders coming up at 10 o'clock. We'll also check in with the Sounds. They got a cool event coming up this weekend. It's Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Chase and Big Joe, presented by Regal Realty Group, 102.5, 106.3, the game on this Friday. Predators now officially in the All-Star break. But our man Bill Wickett is on the line with us. And I've said this before, that Bill is who I deal with on a daily basis. Sean Henry took that as Bill's my favorite with the Nashville Predators. And you know what? I'm going to say that that's true. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Whatever it takes, Chase, to get you guys what you need and to make sure everything's clicking. If you want to call me your bestie over here, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Just want to make sure you guys have what you need to do all that you need to do all that you do here.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. Our partnership, has been going on for a long time, and once again, we're going to be really showcasing that on February 10th for Super Saturday, benefiting the Preds Foundation from 1 to 5 at New Heights Brewing Company. We're excited to partner with you guys on this and to help the Preds Foundation and get people to come out and eat some tasty soups.
Chase, this is our chance to say thank you to you guys. I think it was your general manager, Sean, that reached out sometime maybe in November and suggested a fundraiser for the Predators Foundation. The Super Saturday idea I thought was a fantastic one, and really appreciate you guys for putting this together and raising some money for the Preds Foundation so that we can continue to do all that we do here.
Yeah, and it's cool too because it's a fun event that's going to lead up to the game that night against Arizona, so fans can come out to New Heights right there downtown and try some soups and then come on over to the arena for the game.
Yeah, it's perfect. From our perspective, it's perfect timing because people can absolutely do that. They can have some great soups. I think you have 8 to 10 sponsoring restaurants already,
Yep.
and I believe by going to the website and clicking, you're still looking for restaurants that can support this, and you're also selling tickets for the event as well. And we're encouraging people to come have a great day downtown, right? Like start at New Heights Brewing, have some great soup, fill your belly, and then come to a hockey game.
Absolutely.
Talking to Bill Wickett this morning. Bill, it's funny because you think, all right, the Preds are off for 10 days. You can take a little deep breath. I mean, you guys are busier than ever. I mean, you got a big concert tonight with Cody Johnson. Just the fun never ends, does it?
Joe, last time we talked, you and I talked about a conversions opportunity for you,
Right.
and we could really use your help this week. We had a private event last night. We have Cody Johnson playing almost 17,000 tonight, a concert in the round, and then we have an all-day event tomorrow called Descend. So that offer still stands if you're interested.
I would love to, yeah. And maybe I can get on stage tonight with Cody. Would that be possible?
He's looking for some backup singers. Do you have any TikTok videos that you can kind of?
I do. I do.
A lot of entertainers are breaking into the business now with TikTok.
I could do that. Yeah, I've got plenty of that
So
stuff.
maybe we could get some of your TikTok stuff and pass it on.
He needs a tic-tac. I know that much.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, good one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. But, no, I mean, it's do you ever get a chance to kind of take a deep breath and relax there?
To be honest with you, for anybody that's tied, whose primary function is working with a hockey team, this is a really good. It's a 10-day downtime period of downtime. So the hockey ops people, some of the PR team, the marketing group, broadcasting, it's a good time for everybody to just take a deep breath and relax a little bit. On the event side, it's not so much because, like you said, we're busy, but we are closed from a business standpoint on Monday. We don't do that often, but when we have an opportunity to give everybody a day off, even if it's during the work week, we take advantage of it because we work so many weekends. And we're going to do that this Monday, so get everybody a little bit of rest.
I see that Drake is in town next weekend, and that's going to be, what a show that's going to be. And downtown will be packed as usual.
Drake is 2 nights, Wednesday and Thursday, and I think his load-in is 43 semi-trailers. It's the biggest
Wow.
Concert load-in we've ever had. And it takes a full day to load him in. Usually, like Cody Johnson was able to load in after the show last night. I don't think we could do that with Drake because the setup is so big.
Wow.
But we're really looking forward to an awesome show.
That's going to be
2
awesome.
awesome shows, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Bill Wickett is with us, Chief Marketing Officer of the Nashville Predators, and F&M Bank Arena is going to be busy this weekend. We had Shawn Michaels from the WWE on to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, Chase, you're probably going, aren't you?
I'm going to be out of town. Otherwise, I would.
Oh,
Yeah.
crushing.
I know.
Crushing.
I was bummed, but that'll be fun. I know that Smashville Loyal is a new program that we talked to Sean about last week, but something that you guys rolled out for season ticket holders, and I think this is really cool. I kind of look at it as an evolution of what the season ticket members have been since the beginning of the Predators, but talk a little bit more about Smashville Loyal.
Yeah, Smashville Loyal is not only the name of the program, but it's going to be the way we reference all of our season ticket holders moving forward. Right, they're part of this exclusive group that we're going to call Smashville Loyal. They're definitely our most loyal fans, and based on how long they've owned season tickets, they will be put into tiers: silver, platinum, diamond, and gold. And those tiers represent how long they've been with us. Gold is the kind of the top of the pyramid for season ticket holders that have been here 10 years or more.
So all the day one people are automatically gold, right?
All of the day one people are golds, right? And they're rewarded by us for their tenure, not necessarily how much they pay for a season ticket. So a day one season ticket holder or a season ticket holding family that has been maybe sitting in the upper level for 20 years, we're going to treat them just like any other 10-plus year season ticket holder, no matter how much money they spend with us each year on their tickets. We think, rewarding loyalty and tenure is really important. We have so many good long-term season ticket holders, and the Smashville Loyal program is going to do that.
It's a very cool program, so check that out at NashvillePredators.com. Also, something that was cool the other night is saw a couple of football coaches in the crowd, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee and then new Titans head coach Brian Callahan, who actually got to read the lineup in the locker room to the guys before the game. How'd that all come about? That was really cool.
Clark is really close with Craig Partner Baugh. Yeah. Craig has worked with us for 25 years. Craig worked at the Nashville Sounds once upon a time, and I think Clark's father was a team doctor for the Sounds. So they've known each other for years, and because of that, Clark is very close with Pete Rogers, our head equipment manager. When Brian got here and had his inaugural press conference, there were a couple of tweets that said he couldn't wait to get out to a Preds game. So Clark and Pete put something together, and it worked for Clark and his family. We'd hoped to have Brian and his family, but I think the kids are back in Cincinnati still in school. But Brian came out with his I think it's his chief of staff or director of operations, and we had about 8 of them out for a game. They spent, I bet, 20 or 25 minutes with our coaches pregame, and at the end of that session, Coach Andrew Brunette said to Brian, "Hey, do you want to read the lineup to the team?" And Brian was a little, I guess, shocked by it, but he said, "Yeah, absolutely, let's do it." And it just kind of came together by happenstance. Turns out Brian has played hockey his whole life.
Oh, cool.
He played hockey growing up. He and Clark are lifelong friends. I think they were GAs together at UCLA back in the early 2000s, maybe 2006, something like that.
Wow.
So thanks to Clark Lee for getting Coach Callahan out here, and we look forward to kind of developing that relationship and building another family that's, I guess, there'll be new Smashville Loyal members.
Wow, that's really cool. And I think it's also cool to have, just that cross promotion between all the teams here in Smashville, if you will. And the fact that you're able to start that early with Coach Callahan, I think is really neat.
We all like each other. We all want to support each other. It's great to see each other win. Rising tides lift all boats. It was cool. I was kind of a fly on the wall, but it was cool to see all those coaches interact with each other, talking about what happens in the different sports and the way they practice, the way they travel, the way they work with the athletes, how strength and conditioning works. I'm sure those guys will have lots of great conversations in the future.
I'm also excited about February 13th. The Devils will be in town, but it's Captain's Night. So Tom Fitzgerald, the GM of the New Jersey Devils, the first captain of the Nashville Predators,
correct,
will be here. Kimmo Timonen, some guy named Shea Weber, and some guy named Mike Fisher will also be in the house as former captains of the team. That's going to be an awesome celebration.
It's part of the 25-year anniversary that we've been celebrating all season. We picked the New Jersey night, obviously, because it was a good night for Tom Fitzgerald to be here. In addition to kind of recognizing them before the game and doing an honorary puck drop, we're going to have a 1 hour kind of panel discussion with them at the Omni from 5 to 6 o'clock that day. Tickets are available for that. Fans can buy a game ticket and access to the panel discussion at NashvillePredators.com if you go to our Ticketing Central page. Season ticket holders have been getting correspondence separately, and for a small fee, they can also attend. Proceeds go to the Nashville Predators Foundation. Right way to do that. We think it'll again fundraise a little bit for the Preds Foundation, but it's a great opportunity for the fans to sit in a room for an hour with these great captains. I think Pete Weber is going to be our MC, and just talk to them about their time with the Preds and their time since they've left the Preds, and just a great 25th anniversary celebration opportunity.
That's fantastic, and all these guys, were integral parts of the Predators, and of course the current captain doing that and building off what these guys started. So going to be really neat. Bill, thanks as always for doing this. Enjoy what little bit of a break you can with the All-Star break, and we'll see you next week when the team comes back.
Hey, Joe, we'll be breaking chairs down tonight about midnight to get ready for tomorrow's show.
I'll be there. I'm going to be down there about noon today.
Just come to the south entrance, and we'll sign you up.
I'll work the ticket office till 5, and then I'll change and come down and help out.
Man. You are a good man.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. Bill Wickett, Chief Marketing Officer of the Nashville Predators, joining us here on the program. I really want to see this. I think we got some social media opportunities to get you breaking down, setting the ice up or something.
I'm not touching that ice, but I'll do. I think it'd be fun because those guys.
I think it would be too.
And gals work their tail off flipping that arena for something that goes on. But dude, 43 trucks.
That's
for Drake.
Amazing.
I thought Taylor Swift had a time when she played Bridgestone years ago because she blocked off half of Broadway and 6th Avenue. But my goodness,
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
43.
That's a lot. So coming up next, apparently Dr. Crane has a surprise for us. Well, I don't know. That's what he said.
I just might.
Okay.
It's a subtle surprise. Nothing too out of the ordinary. But
I mean,
you build it like it was the greatest thing
Sell
ever.
it, man.
It is the greatest thing on planet Earth right now.
Okay.
I will say.
All right.
Will it be good radio?
Yes, it will be amazing radio.
We will tell you. It's also February 2nd, so we will tell you if Big Joe saw his shadow this morning. When
I got something for you. Yeah,
it's Jason Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
That's Bill Wickett, man. Bill Wickett.
Once a year, the eyes of the nation turn to this tiny hamlet in western Pennsylvania to watch a master at work. The master? Punxsutawney Phil, the world's most famous weatherman, the groundhog, who, as legend has it, can predict the coming of an early spring. So I guess the question we have to ask ourselves today is, does Phil feel lucky?
It brings hope for the future and so much more. But what this weather did not provide is a shadow or reason to hide. Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
This is one time where television really fails to capture the true excitement of a large squirrel predicting the weather. I, for one, am very grateful to have been here. From Punxsutawney, this is Phil Connors. So long.
Happy Groundhog's Day. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, the game. So I guess he did not see his shadow. Did Big Joe see his shadow?
I did. Let me tell you real quick. I saw this morning, as I do every year, the Percy Priest groundhog saw his shadow today.
Okay.
It looks like another 6 months of potholes, 8,565 people a day moving here, and more broke country.
Oh.
So it's not for 6 weeks. It's for 6 months. So we'll check back in with the Percy Priest groundhog on August the 2nd and see what the second half part of this will be. So there you go. All right. It's I don't know who to believe more, Punxsutawney Phil or the Percy Priest groundhog, who doesn't have a name, by the way.
That is
He
a bit
needs
odd.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you mentioned Bro Country. Does that mean we're going to have a new band like Mississippi Alabama Line or something like that?
Oh, God, could you imagine? I was so happy when Florida Georgia Line said, yep, we're good. I think a lot of us celebrated that.
You know what's really funny about that? So I guess Tyler Hubbard, has gone solo, and he was I didn't realize, so he was the one that basically sang everything. So what did the other guy do?
Well, I don't know who's who.
He's
one guy
the
wore
main
a
one.
big goofy hat. Who was that? Was that the other guy?
I don't know. But Tyler Hubbard was like the main one.
Okay.
Because I saw him, he opened for Keith Urban or somebody I saw. At
Tyler
Bridgestone.
Hubbard did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a year or so ago. And he wasn't bad. I mean, it was Florida. That's what it was. It was Florida Georgia Line.
They
Like,
got to you.
they didn't get to
They
me.
got you.
No,
they
but it's
to you.
cat. It's cat. Like it's
Oh, man.
baby, you're a song.
Oh, I could see you. I can always picture you and Ryan Porth just hitting each other with your Milwaukee's best beer, singing that song.
Hey,
and like,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
not
probably
quite.
like, it's like, George Michael with Wham. He's like, why am I with this guy who's contributing?
Yeah, it's like
very
the other
little?
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like think about groups that they're groups, but it's always like the main guy and the other guy.
I hate to say it because he lives in our town, but I mean, Hall & Oates, right? I mean, John Oates is great, but he
Yeah,
didn't sing many on those songs.
he sang a few, but not.
Did you go to the concert in 2017, Hall
Yeah.
& Oates,
Yeah,
and their little interaction on stage? Do you
you could tell they
remember this?
didn't like each other.
He walked over during a song, and we all kind of surmised what John Oates said to Daryl Hall, because Daryl Hall was awful.
Yeah,
He was singing off key. He was singing behind everybody. And during the song, John Oates, we always figured he went over and said, look, man, get it together or I'm taking your knees out.
right.
Just something. And the whole mood changed from that night. But that was May of 2017.
Yeah, I was at that show. Now, here, this could be a controversial hot take on this topic.
Okay.
Brooks and Dunn.
No. I like Kix Brooks because two of the songs he sings might be their best songs.
Neon
good-
or no.
I'm Gonna Miss You.
or You'll Miss Me When I'm Gone, and
Lost and Found.
Lost and Found's a good one, and then what's the Rock My World? That's another one.
Yeah. So he's got three bangers on that.
So let me preface it. I'm with you on this, but
good.
people would say, I think, because I forget the guy's name that because Ronnie Dunn was trying a solo career, Kix Brooks was trying a solo career, they weren't working. And it's like, hey, you two should get together.
They did. That's right.
And they did, and it changed country music.
Big time it did.
And then like the early stuff, Kix sang a lot more, and then Ronnie kind of took over. But
Well, Ronnie's got a defining voice.
Yeah.
Which was a great topic, which I was going to bring this up one day when we had a slow thing. What's the best thing you've ever saw in concert? What's the best thing you've ever saw in concert? Was it a
Best
song?
thing you've
Was
ever
it a
saw?
solo? Was
Ever
it
seen?
Ever seen? Whatever. You ever saw? Ever seen? I went to McGavick. What's the best thing you ever seen in concert, or you ever saw on a show? There you go.
So like an event or like
No,
a song,
a concert you went to, and it was like,
I mean, the best concert I've ever been to is Paul McCartney.
but not concert, but just a moment that stood out more than anything else.
Believe it or not, and I may think of another one, but so about 7 or 8 years ago, Kenny Chesney played at Bridgestone Arena, and he did like 2 nights. And so I went on the Friday night, and the end of the show, he had done like his whole thing, and he goes, "I'm going to bring a special guest out, to end the show." Joe Walsh came out.
Oh, okay.
And like
That's a winner.
it immediately went from a Kenny Chesney concert to basically a Joe Walsh concert.
Gosh, that's fantastic.
And he played for like 45 minutes and did Life in the Fast Lane, Rocky Mountain Way, and Life's Been Good.
Oh, yes.
And like completely took over. And Kenny like allowed it. Kenny like moved and did backup vocals and
good. He should have.
like the whole thing. And my friend, Kelly Rippon from that was here for a long time. She was here. We were like looking at each other like one of the Eagles is up here basically taking over this concert.
Pretty
and it's
solid.
awesome.
Yeah. I guess the question is, what's the best thing you've ever seen at a concert? That would be it. Not the best concert ever, but the best thing you've ever seen. And I guess that would be, for me, it was Eddie Van Halen in 1984 playing Panama. It was just.
Oh, yeah.
It would just.
A Municipal?
Yeah. It was just an amazing moment I'll never, ever forget. And that was unbelievable. Another moment, which is not really good, was 1984, Huey Lewis opened for 38 Special, and
wow,
they booed Huey Lewis. Huey Lewis was hot. I mean, that band was hot at the time. I'll never forget, they booed him, and like halfway through like the second song, all these just rockers and Harley guys were just cheering and singing the songs. To me, that's probably right under Eddie Van Halen, but seeing Eddie Van Halen in concert, and I don't know why it was just Panama. It was just, that was a song at the time that stuck with me.
If I was going to teach a class on music and like assign people to listen to, you got to listen to a certain album, the Sports album would certainly be on that list.
Yes, it would. Remember what movie that gets talked about a lot? You see American Psycho with Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird movie,
but it put Christian Bale on the map.
It does. And how he's dancing around with the chainsaw, and he's talk about Huey Lewis, how great it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, I know that a lot of people have a good time tonight, but that's a great question about what the best thing you've ever seen at a concert, and could a band work without one or the other?
You know what we need? We need to get like a sounder for when Joe and I go down these rabbit holes. Like, because that's exactly what that was.
It needs to be. When we do that, it needs to be that dumpy Florida Georgia song you like,
No, or like the Bugs Bunny theme.
Baby, now you got me singing that song.
Yeah. Coming up next, there's a cool event happening tomorrow in our city with our friends at the Nashville Sounds. We'll tell you more about that coming up next here on the Chasing Big Joe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, presented by Regal Realty Group here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, broadcasting from the Spring Hill Heating and Cooling Game Nashville studios, keeping your home feeling comfortable all year round. Cool event happening tomorrow at First Horizon Park. We say hello to Adam English. He's the GM of the Nashville Sounds. Joins us now. Adam, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Chase.
I got really excited when we set this interview up, and not only to talk to you, because that's always fun, but it just means baseball's right around the corner, and that makes me so happy.
We're not that far off. Pitchers and catchers report in just under 2 weeks. So Thursday after the Super Bowl, and most of those guys are getting there, even earlier than that to get ready for the season. So, yeah, it's right around the corner.
So Nashville is full of a lot of fun events, and you all at the Sounds decided to do one of your own. The first Soundcheck Fan Fest will take place tomorrow at First Horizon Park. This is something new that you all have put together from 11 to 3. Really looking forward to it. Going to be fun.
Thanks. Yeah, no, we're really excited about it. We looked at an opportunity to get another touch point to get our fans out to First Horizon Park. And get excited about baseball during this time of year where, the weather has been bad. We were nice enough to dial up what projects to be about a 60-degree day on a Saturday in February for everybody to come out to the ballpark. So that'll be really nice. And we just want it to be a celebration of baseball. We've got some of our players coming out to sign autographs, doing Q&A with Jeff Hem. We're giving away free hot dogs, free sodas. It's free to enter. You can do a scavenger hunt looking around at all the different parts of the stadium you might not be able to see whenever you're just normally out here as a fan. So it's a great time for everybody. The games will be up, bandbox games, wiffle ball field, and just a great way to spend a few hours on a Saturday.
What is the once again, I'm writing this down. What's the times again?
So it's 11 a.m. Is when our gates will open. We're going through the gate on John Lewis Way, so it's kind of down the first baseline.
Okay.
And it's 11 a.m. It goes all the way to 3 p.m. Come anytime in that window. You don't have to stay for all 4 hours, but feel free to if you want. If you can make it at 11, great. If you can make it at 2, great. There's going to be fun for everybody throughout that entire window.
What if Chase shows up at 2:55?
You know what? I'll save him a hot dog.
Okay, will Jeff Hem be in a dunk tank?
Oh man, if only. If only we could get the buttery pipes himself to sit in the dunk tank. That'd be fantastic. But there'll be some good stuff. And Jeff's great at dealing with the players. We're having Ethan Small, who lives down in Spring Hill. Patrick Dorian, Tim Dillard, and our third base coach, Ned Yost, are all going to be out here signing autographs, interacting with fans, all kinds of fun stuff.
That's fantastic. I know this might not fall under your window or everything, but I got to tell you, are you guys still looking for the PA announcer over there at whatever it's called now at Sound Stadium?
First Horizon Park.
First Horizon. There you go.
First Horizon Park. Yeah. So we're in the process right now of just evaluating candidates. Our current guy's still in the mix as well, and looking for people to be the voice of the Sounds at First Horizon Park. So,
I got to tell you, when that came out, I mean, social media went afire on this of people wanting to do that. So I got to think the responses were great for this.
Yeah, it's a cool position. It's such a unique game day position for us because you do interact with the fans. You're interacting with fans. We do a guest PA every game. You get a kid that comes up in the control room. You're throwing it down to Wayne D, who's our on-field MC. There's a lot of back and forth, and it's a pretty fun position to be in. You think, hey, I can go spend 4 or 5 hours at a baseball park 75 times during the summer, and I get to, announce. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance this person gets to announce, Jackson Churio or the next great Brewer. That's a story that you don't get to tell everybody. That like this player when he was in AAA, I announced all of his at bats as a PA announcer, and now he's on his path to being a superstar. That's pretty cool.
Well, I'm excited about this for you all. Soundcheck Fan Fest, First Horizon Park, 11 to 3 tomorrow. Go check it out. You can show up, and Tim Dillard being there that's the draw for me because he's fantastic. What's up, Joe?
Before we let you go, people are asking about the Savannah Bananas game.
Yeah.
I guess that's already sold out, maybe?
If if it's not, I think the Savannah Bananas are holding back some tickets for people to go on sale. They're playing 3 dates this year in June, the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And so there are like maybe some limited tickets available, but you need to get on the Savannah Bananas ticket lottery list at their website. And fortunately for me, they control the tickets to this game, so I don't have to be the keeper of one of the hottest tickets in the country right now.
Love it. And while you're there, buy sound season tickets.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bingo. Adam, thanks so much for coming on this morning. I hope everything goes well, and we'll continue to get the word out.
Chase, Big Joe, appreciate you both, and really look forward to it. I'm happy to come on anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Adam English, the GM of the Nashville Sounds, joining us again. Soundcheck Fan Fest, First Horizon Park tomorrow, 11 to 3. Going to be a lot of fun for that. And, yes, I am excited. Pitchers and catchers report here in a couple of weeks. Baseball is here.
Oh, you excited?
I love baseball. It's good for the soul.
It is good for the interesting because, we've been spoiled by Vanderbilt baseball here and now Tennessee being good.
Yeah.
So it's always been great.
Well, Vanderbilt baseball starts here in a couple of weeks, which is
2 weeks
crazy.
from the day.
Yeah.
I think they all start 2 weeks from the day.
Yeah. And we are your new home of Vanderbilt baseball, Cromwell Media. So
nice. Look at you.
You can hear us hear Vanderbilt baseball. We'll give you we'll tell you where they are. They will kind of bounce a little bit with our stations.
Never not working, Chase McCabe.
Yeah, that's me. Never not working. Coming up next, speaking of never not working, our man Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver, will join the show. We'll get his thoughts on how the coaching staff is shaking up for the Tennessee Titans and much more in hour number 2. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Chase and Big Joe, hour number 2, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe. Nick Frazier, Dr. Crane behind the glass on the ones and the twos. We say hello to Forever Titans wide receiver, legend, Chris Sanders on the line with us. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Man, what's up, man? How y'all doing this morning? I'll tell you one thing. I look forward to Fridays. I love forward to coming to the show, man. We're two great men. So, hey, I'm glad you guys are doing well.
And we look forward to talking to you every week because, we honestly never know what you're going to say. So
Is it that bad?
No, it's good. So Brian Callahan put his staff together.
Yes, he is.
He's brought in Nick Holes to be the offensive coordinator, who's been the passing game coordinator with Jacksonville. His father, Bill, going to run the offensive line, which that right there to me is the home run hire of the whole staff. And then Denard Wilson, who's been the Ravens DB coach, is going to come in to be the defensive coordinator. In some aspects, I like that you're getting maybe an unproven staff, so to speak, some young up-and-comers plus the veteran in Bill Callahan. But on the other hand, I'm kind of the thought that if you're going to have a rookie play caller and head coach, you bring in the established guy to run the defense.
Right.
He ultimately did not do that. How do you think this will turn out?
I think it's going to all turn out well, especially, the wide receiver type Tolbert, and then you got, Bill Callahan, his dad. What's his name's dad. And the one thing that you get with all these guys is it fits the scheme of what Coach Callahan wants. What does he want? He wants guys that are teachers. Look at Tolbert, the wide receiver coach. He's a teacher. Look at Bill Callahan that's been in a lot of places. He's been with the Browns, the Commanders, the Jets, Dallas. Even in college, he coached at Wisconsin and Illinois. All those things. You have a lot of guys there, but you have a lot of guys that specialize in teaching a position. And when you have a guy that's teaching a position, it just makes everybody better. Then also, too, you have people on this staff or coaches on this staff that actually work together so they know how to feel. They understand the concept. They understand the identity of what they're building. So even though we might not know a lot of these guys, they're still great teaching. I just think that's what Callahan's building.
And they're bringing in receivers coach that's been around, too. And Tyke Tolbert, he's been a long-time NFL assistant. I think the other thing, too, is people were kind of making a big deal of, why'd you let Rob Moore go? And some of these guys that were here. Yeah. It's time to reset, right, Chris?
It is time to reset, and I take my hat off to Rob Moore because, I coach wide receivers at Montgomery Bud Academy. He sat I sat in the meeting room and watched what he does, and I watch what he does on the board. I watch what he does with Watch Your Film, and I watch how he prepares these guys. I mean, that's a big loss because when you're talking about a guy that's a great teacher, he understands the guys, he played the game. So when you let him go, it's kind of tough. But then on the other hand is, you want to start afresh. I mean, you want to get different coaches in there. You want to get a different scheme, a different mindset that even though, it didn't work before. So even though you got Tolbert coming in, he's still a teacher. Look at some of the guys that he coaches. He coached Antoine Bowden from the Cardinals when he had the rookie record. He coached Lee Evans from the Bills. You got Demarius Thompson, rest his soul, from the Broncos. So, both of these guys are great teachers, but I agree with you 100%. Sometimes you just need a new, fresh start.
All right, Chris, I got a few questions for you. How you doing, buddy? Good?
Hey, I'm doing great. You doing well?
I want to ask you this after watching last Sunday the Chiefs in the championship game. When Mahomes, you're a wide receiver coach, which brought this up to me again. When Mahomes scrambles, he had said years ago about scrambling, he's like, I tell my guys, come find me, right?
Yeah, yep.
So, to see Kelsey come find him and see his receiver, what do you teach guys when they're running a route and the pocket breaks down, they see their quarterback scrambling?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I know everybody's thinking, okay, they're just running around and getting open. You got to understand that there's a rule. When you have a rule, just say I'm running post and, Mahomes is scrambling the opposite way. I have to get in his vision. My rule is if I'm up top, then I take the top off the defense and I get to the end zone. If I run a comeback and I'm not in his vision, I kind of go to the other side of the field. So it's not just guys are just running around and getting open. You just got to understand what a quarterback is. You got to understand what he's rolling out, and there's a rule to whatever route you run. Say if you run a hitch route and Mahomes scrambles the opposite way. So what I have to do is I got to make a deep crossing route to get into his vision to make sure he sees me. So even though, everybody's thinking, we just got to run and get around open, just get in his vision. No, there's rules to what the receiver is supposed to do when Mahomes is scrambling.
That's a great. Thank you for that, because they showed an overhead shot of Mahomes scrambling, and they were talking about how the receivers, nobody kind of runs to the same area. They're all on different tracks.
No, I mean, you said it perfectly. You run on different tracks. When you say different tracks, you're on different rules. So say if I run a slant. Say if I run a slant route, right, on the opposite side, but you have Mahomes scrambles to the other side, if I run up the field, he can't see me. So what I need to do is I need to stay on that same plane to where I get into his vision, and he's going to throw the ball to a spot. I think that's a great analysis of what you just said.
Do you run with him? I'm watching Kelsey. Kelsey's almost running parallel with Mahomes. And by the way,
right there,
we're making a lot out of Kelsey and the Taylor Swift thing. He's a damn good, might be one of the best tight ends of all time. He's so smart, though, Chris, when he's running those routes.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. This is what makes me mad, especially when I coach wide receivers. We always crown a person that runs a 4-3 or 4-2 and crown him as a great tight end or crown him as a great wide receiver. The best wide receivers are the receivers that have the best technique. Why does he consistently get open? Why does he, always create separation? It's because he understands at the line of scrimmage, I have a game plan. I got to get him off the spot. I got to stack him. When I say get off the spot, I got to get the defensive back or the safety or the linebacker to open up his hips. And then I have a situation to where I got to make the DB, whoever's covering me, go opposite of where I'm going. So what do? I lie with my eyes. I go opposite of where I'm going. So when I have a situation to where a tight end does that and you're going against a linebacker where his hips are tight, that's why Kelsey consistently gets open. Why? Because he has a game plan at the line of scrimmage and he has a game plan at the top of the route. That's what makes that cat so special.
I just think it's fascinating to watch all that happen. Another question I'm going to get for you. You know, the Senior Bowl is going on. Our man TD's down there. I was watching the Shrine Bowl last night, and they were talking about the one thing you can't do in these All-Star games is be so tight.
Yep,
and they were talking about these guys being so tight and so nervous. They said you can't do that because then you're not playing as well as you need to be playing.
Do you know, it's funny that you say that because when I went to the Senior Bowl, nobody really knew who I was, and, I got invited, so nobody really knew who I was. But everything they did is they watch how I respond to adversity, how to respond if I ran a route wrong, what happens to respond if I dropped the ball. They want to watch my body language. But here's what I did when I first went into the Senior Bowl. I went in there with a stinking attitude. I went in there to where, I don't care if I'm going against Auburn's cornerbacks. I don't care if I'm going against Alabama's cornerbacks. I'm about to beat somebody's brakes in. Because if you go out there at the Senior Bowl, because you got the general manager watch, you got the head coach watch, you got all the pro scouts watching you and they're taking notes. If you go out there with confidence and an attitude of I'm about to beat somebody's brakes off, they're going to notice you. And the reason why I got drafted in the third round, the 67th pick, is because I showcased my ability. Because when I first came in, everybody kept saying, oh, he's a track guy trying to play for all that crazy stuff. So I came in there with attitude. So when I showed them that I can run routes, that I can burst off the cut, that I can lie with my eyes, that I can, get out of my cuts, beat the defensive back to the sidelines, catch the ball in the windows, and I did all those things, I went from being unknown to get drafted in the third round in a draft class that was loaded with wide receivers.
Nice. Chris Sanders is with
got
us.
Me hype up in
I know. You're ready to run through a wall. I like it.
Man, I might hurt my bunion, I got
Please don't
my hamstring.
So all the talk is the Titans picking at 7. What do you do? And we're going to have months and months and months to talk about this. But now there's the question of, could T. Higgins hit the trade market from the Bengals? Obviously, Brian Callahan knows him quite well. He's from the state of Tennessee. So I think we all know he would be a fit. But the question is, if you're the Titans, what are you willing to give up? What should you give up when there are two potentially game-changing receivers that are going to probably be available at pick number 7 in Odunze and Malik Neighbors?
This is just me. I mean, I love Higgins and Boyd, and I know there's some special wide receivers. And this is my opinion. I look at this wide receiver class. This wide receiver class is rich with some speed and some guys with talent, and they're big. I mean, look at Marvin Harrison. Look at Neighbors. Look at Dunze. I can't pronounce his name, from Washington. But then you got some guys that have the same caliber of playmaking ability. Look at a cat from North Carolina, Devontae Walker, a big physical guy, a guy who could route this, pro-ready. Then you have a guy from Florida State, Keon Coleman. Then you have a guy from Texas that nobody's really talking about, is Adonai Mitchell. So there's a rich class of wide receivers. So even though you may not get Higgins, Boyd, or whoever it is, you still got a receiving class that has the potential to make plays. So even if they don't get those guys, they can get those guys in draft because it's rich with a lot of wide receivers.
You left out Xavier Leggett from South Carolina, too.
Yes. Me and TD was talking about him yesterday. Said he can get it done. And I mean, it's just, even the cat from Oregon, Troy Franklin. I mean, this guy is a consistent guy that catches the ball downfield. So, I've been studying these guys and looking at film, and this is just I'm not saying this is the case, but this is probably one of the best wide receiver classes in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really good one. And so if they don't hit at 7 and they go offensive line, I don't think anybody should be mad about that.
No.
If one of those guys isn't there at 7 and they trade back to get more draft capital, I don't think they should be mad about that either.
No.
So I like the options that the Titans have when it comes to the draft. But back to Higgins, so you are not of the belief that you give up draft assets to bring him in.
No, because the reason if you give up draft capital, then now you're not going to have that many draft picks. I mean, the Tennessee Titans need a whole bunch of guys that come in here and not just play, but be impact players. So, I know that Higgins and Boyd are some spectacular wide receivers, but it all depends on what you're going to give up. If Cincinnati Bengals are offering, okay, I'm gonna give you, a second, you got to give me a second round or whatever, then why would you do that when you can go get another receiver that's rich in the draft to go out there and get him? So, I mean, it all depends on what the Tennessee Titans are going to do, and just like what you said, you got Callahan that knows both of these guys, which can be a plus, but it all depends on which direction you want to go to, and that's a decision that Ryan Carthon is going to have to make really, really quick.
Well done, Chris. Thank you for that.
That's it. Is that it?
Chris, you want to go play this flag football game in the Pro Bowl?
Champ, I would love to. I can last 2 plays. I got 2 plays. I got a hitch in a bubble. That's all I got for you. I need oxygen and I hurt my hamstring, but I got 2 good plays for you.
Okay.
Did you watch Derrick Henry play the what is it called? The dodgeball?
Yeah, that was fun.
Did you see how hard he threw that ball?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what do you expect?
Right.
He almost took that guy's spleen out, and it was a soft ball.
Hey, if you had to go run a 40 right now, could you break 4.5?
So you try to all honesty, if I prepare for like 2 weeks, right now,
within the hour,
he would tear something.
I think I would. First of all, I wouldn't make it past the 30, but if I had to finish the round, I would say 4.67, guaranteed.
So I'm going to full disclosure here. So I've had these, I get all these ideas or whatever. Hey, we should try this or try this. And, I'm like, okay, let's get Derek and Chris out and, have them run some routes and have some fun. And like I brought that up one day and somebody looked at me and go, are you going to pay, like if they tear something, like, I mean, come on now, you got to. But I think you both could.
No, Derek couldn't do it because he's eating too healthy now. He's eating like wheat germ and all that crazy stuff. Having coffee. I'm a vegan now. No, he wouldn't last like 20 seconds. I love him, but man, nah, he wouldn't make it.
Oh, good stuff. Chris, thanks as always. Have a great weekend.
My pleasure. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
You too. Chris Sanders, Forever Titans receiver, joining us here on the program. What would you give up for T. Higgins to bring him to Nashville, to the Tennessee Titans? We'll discuss that coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in to 102.5 The Game this Sunday. NASCAR returns. The Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum with coverage beginning at 5. Coverage also available on the 102.5 The Game app and thegamenashville.com.
Hey, friends, Big Joe here. Love hearing from all of you who have used Medical House Calls and absolutely loved the experience and the care. Now, here's how it works. One, you're going to give them a phone call because all visits start with a phone call with one of the providers to determine the extent of your needs. Two, you're going to pick your treatment, answer a few questions. They'll provide you with the best treatment options. Home visit, telehealth, or virtual prescription. And third, you will feel better in no time. Their great and amazing medical staff will get you up and running and, yes, feeling better in no time. Board-certified nurse practitioners and physician's assistants will guide you the entire way. In fact, Chuck McDowell used Medical House Calls, so impressed with the service, their commitment, and their care that he bought the company. It's simple. Just visit the website, medicalhousecalls.com. That is medicalhousecalls.com, where the nearest clinic is your home.
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Friday. Josh Berry, local driver, going to join us at 10:30. Looking forward to that NASCAR Cup Series. So that'll be fun. A couple of texts on T. Higgins. You can weigh in on this. Should the Titans make a move on T. Higgins? 615-737-1025. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Shane in the Borough says, I'd give up 75% of the potholes in Nashville, 2 hot dogs, and a cold beer for T. Higgins.
That's a lot.
I don't know if they take that. So,
a lot of potholes, man.
The Joey in Gallatin says the center from Oregon will be a great pick at 7. I don't think you take a center with the 7th overall pick, right?
I'm going to look up the highest center ever taken.
Yeah, I don't know. Justin says it would be amazing if T says, hey, I want to play for Coach Callahan. I want to be back home in my state. It will not break the bank to go play with that coach on my home turf, and I'll try to bring the Titans a championship. It could happen. No, and then he says something else. But, I mean, if he was a free agent, it's different. But they're not going to allow – I mean, Cincinnati's not going to allow him to get to free agency where they don't get something for him, and nor should they. That's just kind of part of it.
I'm looking for the center part here. Jason Kelce was not taken in the first round, but was a center. Didn't the Colts take a guy from Alabama in the first round? Was a center like 2017, 28? I mean, there's so much here. I'm trying to pull up because Google's like, we don't recognize that question. Nobody's ever asked us this question. So we're okay. Yeah, Travis Frederick taken at 31 in 2013. He's a center. Cameron Irving, 2015, went at 19. Ryan Kelly was the guy from Alabama, was taken in 2016 in the first round. Frank Ragnow of the Lions, right? He's a hell of a center.
Yeah.
Was taken 20 in 2000. So there's a few, not many, that have been taken. There's some, yeah.
I just look at center as a position. I mean, not 7th overall.
No. I mean, could you imagine if they took a center at 7? I mean, you'd have to go.
Stillman lost it with
You'd have to go. I was
Skoronski.
gonna say, you'd have to give him CPR.
No, I mean, like I'd be legit worried about him because like he almost had an aneurysm with the 11th overall pick in Skoronski as a guard. Like if they drafted a center at 7th overall, I don't know what he would do. I mean,
kind of want to see it now.
And the other thing too is Joe Alt. I think everybody would go, all right, good pick. Solid pick. There's your left tackle for the next 10 years or whatever. But, Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, that gets you going. That gets you excited because that's skill position and sexy pick.
Right.
And with the theme of this offense, that kind of fits that. Now, they trade for T. Higgins, then that changes things. But I'm not giving up the 7th overall pick. We can talk about a first next year. Ideally, if I'm trading, I'm giving you a 2nd and then something else.
Yeah.
This year, 2nd. But, it's probably likely not going to happen.
In 1979, the Saints drafted Russell Erxleben out of Texas at number 11 in the first round as a punter place kicker to do that. I think they've gotten smarter now where you're not I mean, unless that center is just destroying people left and right. I mean, no, that would not be. Even though the Titans need a center.
Oh, yeah.
But that kid Morgan's really good. But, I mean, could you imagine? I mean, that would – I wonder what part marketing – God, I hate asking this question. What part marketing plays in? I mean, do you say, like, hey, we need the center, but is he really going to energize the fan base?
Well,
I mean, it's got –
that's a really good question.
God, I hate
because you know who's going to ask that? Or who should be asking that is Amy.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, that should not be why you draft a player, and that's why the owner needs to go not pick the football team. But it is a fair question from her point of view. Like, if I was in her spot, I'd be asking the same thing. Like, hey, you got lucky with Taylor Lewan because his personality was different than most offensive linemen. Like, he was more outgoing, and so you could market around him, and he became one of the figureheads of your franchise. But like Ben Jones wasn't. Ben Jones was a great guy, fun guy. You know, if you got to know him, talk to him, but he's not. You know, he's not going to move the needle, and he knew that. You know, but he got known for he would, no matter what, walk the field barefoot and just good old country boy and stuff like that. But most offensive linemen are not, going to have the personalities of Taylor Lewan.
There's just so much that it goes into all this. Like, I'll just pick that guy because he's good, and there's that.
Yeah.
I think a little bit involves. I think some of it does, and you're right. It shouldn't involve like marketing part of this about, hey, is he going to move the needle a little bit? I just, like you go out and sign a free, like T. Higgins will move the needle big time.
Oh yeah.
But what do you give up for him? What do you want for him? And everything else that goes on, it's much harder than just saying, yeah, we'll grab him. Here's your money. Let's go forward. And
so if you did, I mean, here's the other thing too. Cameron says, I don't think Higgins is worth it. That guy is not a true number one. His own team drafted over him and is going to let him go eventually. I want us to draft one. I mean, I think he can be a number one. But it's also a fair question. If you were to acquire him and then you still draft, I mean, you still technically could draft a guy at 7 if you kept that pick. You've now really addressed wide receiver, and you would have – going into this year, you would have Higgins, Hopkins, draft pick, and Burks. To me, that's saying that you've given up on Burks if you do that. But
Higgins, I'm seeing a lot of this. I'm looking up. The Bears want him allegedly, and $19 million. What he could get a year for doing all that?
Listen.
Oh no.
9756. T is too expensive for the Titans, but if he has any eligibility left, he could probably get a good NIL deal with the Vols.
And probably make more money.
Yeah, probably would. That's funny. Brian and Mount Juliet, Odu or Alt at 7 if they are gone. Trade back and get the right tackle. Get a right tackle and a pick. Try and get a center with an extra pick. So Brian's saying go all offensive line. Wes in Clarksville, will a tackle picked in the first round be ready to start this year? We need starters, not project players.
Great point.
Okay, Wes, that is a fantastic point. If I'm drafting a tackle at 7th, he better be ready to play.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, I don't care who you draft at 7.
Yep.
They better be ready to play day 1.
Yeah, here's your helmet, shoulder pads, cleats. See you out there, and here's your playbook.
Here's your playbook.
Learn it, and then you got to go. Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
You can't, because Robinson missed so bad on 20 and 21 that you look at what it's doing.
And look, I mean, we don't hold this against him, and it probably shouldn't be held against him in the same sense as what you just mentioned. But like, Corey Davis at number 5 was a bad pick.
Yeah,
like he turned out to be a decent player, but not 5th overall. Good,
I totally agree.
And so you pick at 7, and it's not Carthon or Brian Callahan's fault, but like you better nail the pick. And like all pro nail the pick.
They had 2 first-round picks that year too.
I know, and they both sucked. Like Adoree Jackson was the biggest waste of space. I mean, I'm sorry. Like I got so out on that guy as a first-round pick, but like. I loved him coming out of USC, and because
didn't Vrabel hurt his feelings, got onto him a little too much or something.
Well, okay, so that was that Robinson's 2nd draft?
Correct.
So that was that Vrabel's first year?
No, Vrabel was
okay. So that was
Sean
Malarkey.
Evans was the great pick.
That was Malarkey's last year.
Correct.
And because I remember, that's right. Because I remember they were bragging like, "Oh yeah, Adoree Jackson, he can play both sides of the ball." And
he just came off the Rose Bowl where he destroyed Penn State in that Rose Bowl game.
And they had him the first punt return he had, he almost coughed it up, was terrible. And then they put him in on offense, and he did nothing.
0. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they probably gave up on it too quick, but whatever. But
I don't need to go back and look at the 2017 draft to see who they could have gotten, because that just drives you crazy. Say, oh, they could have got this person there or that person there. That's the Mahomes draft, right? I think he went like 11th or 12th, whatever it was.
Yeah, the Kansas City. Because I've told you the story. We were doing a draft show, and it was Jared, Floyd, Derek. I think Chris was there, and they announced that Kansas City had moved up to take Mahomes at 10 or 11 or whatever it was, and Floyd goes, "Well, Andy's got a ring coming." Well, he's got 2.
Yeah.
Because of that. Let's see. 6252 says, in all reality, I would give up a first either this year or next. He's still a young, proven talent that can be a number 1 wide receiver. That is always better than a dice roll in the draft. Here's where, like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't have to pay the draft pick what you're going to have to pay T. Higgins. Because the draft pick is unproven, and so you're going to come in and it's a roll of the dice, but you're not paying them the amount you're going to have to pay T. Higgins. Because that's the other thing that we haven't even mentioned. If you trade for T. Higgins, you're going to have to pay him. You have to sign him to a new contract.
That's correct. Yeah, you have to do that.
And he's going to want number 1 receiver money, even though he hasn't been the number 1 receiver with his team.
And that's another thing to me with T. Higgins is, like, how good is he because of who's around him with Jamar Chase? How much does Jamar Chase
Well,
take
he was
away
pretty
from him?
good. The year – hang on. Let's look that up, because I actually think people that say he's not a number 1 receiver, I don't know if I buy that. I think he can be. He just hasn't been because Chase is better.
I'll have to disagree with you there, Chase. Every time Jamar,
you don't think he's a number 1?
I don't. Every time Jamar Chase has been injured, and that was the majority this past season. Yes, I understand Jake Browning was their backup quarterback, and they have a certain amount of plays that they're comfortable with. But I mean, was T. Higgins really in the limelight? Like, did you really see?
Well, he
him?
was hurt too.
Well, I'm talking about just in the last year or so with this, along with last year as well, when Jamar Chase wasn't available. Like, even when Jamar Chase wasn't available, he didn't really pop off like that.
Well, I need to look at what games that Chase was out and what Higgins did. But, I mean, in 2020, which was Higgins' rookie year, Chase was at LSU. He had 908 yards his rookie year, played 16 games. Played 14 games the next year, 1091. 16 games the next year, 1029. 12 games this year, 656. So obviously a down year, but he was hurt the majority of the year. I mean, it's a good point. Yeah. I need to look at the side by side.
His numbers, yes, they're almost 1,000 yards every season, but the consistency in those stats. I looked at it a few weeks ago, and that was the one thing that bothered me. I think it was his second or year, I think it was. There was not a lot of consistency. There was one game where he had 60 yards, another game was 14. And then after that, it was just kind of up and down. So that's just my only concern. But, I mean, probably a really good receiver. I just don't think he's a number 1.
Okay, fair enough. And there are a lot of people that agree with you. Then there's some people that disagree with you on that. That's why it's an interesting question.
I like Dr. Crane taking stands.
John in Clarksville, you don't trade for Higgins. You have D-Hop this year. You can sign Higgins as a UFA next season and don't lose anything. If you think he can get to free agency, then I agree with that. And you draft one of these guys, and then you give Burks one more year to figure it out. And if he does, then there you go. Great. If he doesn't, you move on. And then if you can get Higgins for the right price as a free agent, then yeah.
I think the Bengals go all in and they tag him.
I think they tag him this year, but I think they have to see what they're going to have to pay Chase first.
Yeah.
I
like the way you talk about yourself. In the
thanks.
third person.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not cheap. Let's go to Mike in Gallatin. Mike, what's up?
Hey, so I personally don't know how the Titans are going to be able to fill. If we go out and we sign T. Higgins and we have to trade away our first or our second round pick in this year's draft to do so, I think there's just other huge glaring holes that I don't think we're going to be able to fill by trading away one of those guys right this minute to do that. I don't feel like there's enough chat about going out and picking up secondary pieces. I was looking at our cornerback room, and we have no cornerbacks, I feel like, at the moment that are worth talking about currently on our active roster, because I can't talk about Farley. We don't know about Bunting. We don't know if we're going to re-sign anybody that we have on the free agent. So, again, I feel like there's just too many needs to go all in and drop as much money as it's going to take to get Higgins this way.
Good call. Appreciate it. And he's right, because you got to address secondary. Now, the interesting thing there is McCrary, solid. Okay. He's not a shutdown corner, but he's solid. So he's back. If Farley, I don't know. I mean, he's supposedly on the team. So that's kind of how I look at that right now. I don't know what the market's going to be for Fulton. I think he's gone. I don't give him a big contract here. But if he goes out and the market's not there and they turn around and they come back to the Titans and go, hey, we'll do a 1 year, give us another 1 year prove-it deal for a cheap amount, okay. I wouldn't say no to that. Sean Murphy-Bunting was okay. I'd probably bring him back on a 1 year deal, but you got to go find the corner.
You're bringing back a lot of people that just
I know they're average. You're bringing back average players. You're right.
Yeah.
But tell me what the alternatives are.
Get your scouting department out and find these guys. Find something. You just can't. You know what you have, and these guys already here, and you saw that you went 6-11. Just get rid of the mindset, and I always go back to when it was 2006 when they brought in. Was it David Thornton, Mawai, and I'm leaving somebody else out back then. They kind of changed the culture in that locker room. Guys, one other player. I can't remember who it is now. Van den Bosch was already there, but they slowly kind of changed things that went on, and and they had really good success.
You take the line?
No, in 2006, they signed 3 free agents. It was Mawai, David Thornton, and I'm leaving one other person out. Oh, God, who was
Nick Harper?
No, not Nick Harper.
Chris Hope? No, he was –
he came after. Oh my God! I'll figure. Maybe
it was a corner.
Hope would have been there after his Super Bowl year.
2006. You're right. There were 3 of them. Mawai,
David Thornton, Jake Scott came after in 2007.
I think it was Chris Hope.
Might have been Chris Hope.
Because I think Thornton it was either Hope or Nick Harper. Because for some reason I thought Thornton and Nick Harper came together. They were both with the Colts.
Yeah, they did, but I think Harper might have been 2007. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy.
Yeah,
I was
you
in that
got
locker
to
room every
You got to
day.
look it up before.
I got Mawai was one, David Thornton was one, and who was the other guy?
Harper's first year was 2007. You're right.
2007, yeah, that's right. And Jake Scott wasn't there yet. I'll figure it out here.
Titans 2006 free agents.
Van den Bosch was already there after 2005. It's one other guy they brought in. There were 3 guys to do this. It's going to drive me crazy. And it wasn't Kerry Collins. Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
It was Chris Hope.
Okay.
It was Chris Hope. There was a 4th one. They got hurt.
David Givens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was Mawai, Thornton, Chris Hope, and David Givens.
Yeah, 4 Givens. But you take those 3 who played, really helped change the culture around in that locker room, and that's what they kind of wanted.
Yeah.
There we go.
I agree. Coming up next, we'll talk to Josh Berries, the driver of the number 4 for Stewart Haas Racing. He'll be racing at L.A. this weekend, the Clash at the Coliseum, and also the Daytona 500 in a couple of weeks as a rookie in the Cup Series. We'll do that next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Back here, chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3. The game coming up this weekend. NASCAR, it gets its season underway, though unofficially, but the clash at the Coliseum, at the LA Coliseum, and a local driver that we've gotten to know over the years, Josh Berry, joins us now. He's the driver of the number 4 Sunny D Ford Mustang, a rookie in the Cup Series. Josh, I know you're excited to get going full-time Cup racing. How you doing?
I'm doing good. But yeah, it's since we've last spoke, I'm at a new organization with a new series, a new manufacturer. Lots changed for me over the last few months, but it's been really exciting for us. The transition to Stewart-Haas Racing's been a great one. Really getting to know everybody there and working alongside Rodney and the whole 4 team and getting prepared to go racing. Right, that's what we've been doing the last few months, and it's finally here, and we're ready to go.
How much has, obviously your years at Junior Motorsports and working with Dale, he and Rodney are tight, so there's a little bit of a transition there, but taking over for Kevin, working with Tony Stewart, you have this wealth of knowledge that you can lean on to go Cup racing. How big is that?
Yeah, no, it's been, it's really valuable, I think, to me heading through this opportunity, right, to obviously be exposed to Dale and everybody there for years. And then now, like you said, Tony and Kevin, and it's made for an interesting career for me, I think, in a way that, my career, I guess, is tied to, somebody told me over the off season, one of the meetings that we were in, right? Like, it's like my career is tied to Dale and Tony and Kevin and now Chase Elliott and Hendrick Motorsports. And it's just so interesting how this is all kind of come together. So, I think going into it, it's to have people like that on your side is going to prove a great asset. I think for me personally, it's going to take some time to adapt, but having somebody like Kevin there to lean on, I'm sure he's going to be an asset to me. And I think really his message to me now is right, like it's to make it my own, to make my team my own, and go experience it for myself. And if I needed anything, then he's a phone call away.
We're talking to Hendersonville's very own Josh Berry. Josh, I love it when people try to form an idea and call somebody an overnight sensation, but looking at your career, my man, I mean, you've been grinding since almost day one, haven't you?
Yeah, it's, my story is definitely an interesting one, right? I mean, without a doubt, I think that, and then you take the transition over the last few years for me, I think has been really, really unique. Obviously spent years at the short track level, racing late model cars in the Virginias and the Carolinas. And then just you kind of fast forward to 2021, moving to the Xfinity Series, and the kind of accelerated path from there on has been really, really kind of a whirlwind, I guess, in a way. But I think that, it's something that I've been really proud of. And it's been a lot of fun going, racing really my whole life, basically, since I was a little boy. So never, not going to say on every day I felt like that I would be a full-time Cup driver, but to race as long as I have and now make it to this point is definitely really cool.
What kept you going? I mean, there was obviously you kept moving up and up and up, but what kept you going when, becoming a full-time Cup driver seemed so far away and like, man, I don't know. What was your kind of motive to keep going?
Yeah, I don't know. I think back to, really that started early on, I think. And I think back to when I was racing kind of in my teenage years, right? Like we were raced in the Middle Tennessee area. We had a 4-cylinder car that we raced at the fairgrounds for a while. We raced go-karts in Middle Tennessee before that. And I think for me, nothing was, we never really, definitely, as we raced and I progressed, we had obstacles constantly over the course of the years, right? Like whether it's financially or, and we were always kind of like a one blown motor or one accident away from being done for the rest of the season. So I think once I'm, was able to work through that and get the opportunity that I got with Junior Motorsports, even at the late model program at the short track level, I just felt like I was going to ride it out as long as I could. And, I think that my success at that level became really motivating to me to continue to do that. We found new goals, new things to try to challenge ourselves to that level as we continue to win those races. And ultimately it just led me to getting an opportunity in the Xfinity Series. And, kind of here we are a couple years later.
The story is great. Now, is this the calm before the storm? Because once you go to Los Angeles, I don't think you take a breath until December. Is that right?
It's going to be a busy year for sure. But it's something that I'm prepared for. I think looking back on last year and my opportunities there with Hendrick Motorsports, that was a busy time, a very, very busy time for about 2 months there that I remember looking back on it and thinking like I went almost 6 weeks or something and never had one day where we weren't either traveling or at the racetrack or at a meeting or at the simulator or something, right? So I know it's going to be intense and it's going to be busy, but I've had the off season here to prepare for that, and it's here now, and we're ready to go.
Well, that's awesome. I just think the story is great. Also, I mean, I grew up here in Middle Tennessee. The fact you grew up here in Middle Tennessee, too, as well is fantastic. I got to ask, though, do you still take your bills and put them, because you're a bank teller, do you put them like in the order where everybody's facing the same way?
A little bit, yeah. Typically, cash we definitely don't use as much gas as we did back then. But, yeah, no, I did. And it's funny, yeah, that I worked there for, couple, a year and a half, maybe 2 years right there in Hendersonville. But I learned a lot in that time about banking and finance and stuff. So it was definitely a benefit for me.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
Well, Josh, I'm excited for you. It's going to be awesome to watch this weekend and then the Daytona 500 here in a few weeks. And we'll be cheering locally for that 4-car and see you out here in Nashville later in the summer. So thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you, man.
That is NASCAR driver Josh Berry joining us here on the Chasing Big Joe show. Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is and also celebrity birthdays. Put a bow on this fun week. It's Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. All right, we got a pair of courtside tickets to see Belmont women's basketball take on Murray State this Saturday, February 3rd. First caller, 615-737-1025, will sit courtside to see Belmont take on Murray State this Saturday, February 3rd. And also, let me tell you about ESPN Bet. It's now live in Tennessee, and it's the official sports book of ESPN, but also of me, Chase McCabe. ESPN Bet is the only place to find daily exclusives and offers with your favorite ESPN personalities and shows. You can sign up today, and new users get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. So sign up, put all your stuff in, make a bet, and then you get $100 in bonus bets for making that bet. All your favorite markets and bets like in-game wagering, cross-sport parlays, teasers, and all the props you can handle. ESPN Bet, download today. What a play. You must be 21 years or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call or text the red line at 800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune into 93.3 Classic Hits tomorrow as MTSU takes on Western Kentucky. 100 miles of hate on the road. Pregame at 6:30, tip-off at 7. Coverage also available on the 93.3 Classic Hits app and 93.3classichits.com. Chasing Big Joe presented by Regal Realty Group here on this Friday. And also Super Saturday, you've been hearing the promos for that. That is coming up a week from tomorrow, February 10th. New Heights Brewing in Nashville from 1 to 5. This fun, family-friendly Soup Fest benefiting the Nashville Predators Foundation. Tickets on sale now. They're only $10, and all of that goes to the Nashville Predators Foundation. Enjoy live music, games for kids. Come and sample soup from Mafiosa's, 615 Chutney, Westin Hotel, Jasper's, and more. JoJo and I will be there to purchase tickets and to see all participating restaurants. Just go to theGameNashville.com/soup, and you can also enter to win tickets to Super Saturday simply by texting the keyword soup, S-O-U-P, to 615-737-1025 right now. With that, let's get to What Day Is It and Celebrity Birthdays.
All right, we have here for celebrity birthdays and also What Day Is It? Candlemas, which is Christmas for candles. That is today.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Did
All
not
right.
know that.
That was a thing.
I didn't know either. Next one we have is Bubblegum Day.
Love
You guys
some
big
bubblegum.
Bubblegums. There we go. California Kiwi Fruit Day.
I'm not a big kiwi guy.
Same here.
I mean,
Can't
that's
do it.
fine, but
It's not it. Can't do it. Let's see. Another one we have is Groundhog Job Shadow Day. So you're
Okay.
job shadowing for a groundhog. That's
Okay.
pretty cool.
I'll take that.
Other one we have is Give Kids a Smile Day. Just smile at somebody. Another one we have is a crepe, the French the
Wait,
crepe.
go back to the one before. What?
Smile, smile.
Smile at a Kid Day?
Yeah.
You get arrested for doing that today.
Well, I mean, just make them happy. I don't know.
Pass.
Let's see. Hedgehog Day is today as well. I guess groundhogs and
Okay.
hedgehogs.
oh, they what? Okay.
Yeah.
all in the family, I guess. Last one we have is Heavenly Hash Day, meaning hash browns.
Oh, that could mean a lot. Something else.
Yeah,
to
it could
Yes.
Willie
be.
Nelson.
I could see a ground or a hedgehog being named Archie.
I could.
He
yeah.
said all in the family, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Archie Bunker. All right, celebrity birthdays.
All right,
Let's
here we
go.
go.
ahead.
Roll through these this morning. Got to get them within two. Our first celebrity birthday is Brent Spiner.
Lieutenant Commander Data?
Yep.
Oh, my favorite.
Data or data? Well, one is correct and one is not.
Yeah, it's Data. His name is Data.
Yep.
And he has one of my favorite lines in Star Trek Generations when the Enterprise is crashing and he's got his emotion chip and he goes, oh, bleep. I almost said it.
You should have. How old is he, Chaser?
73.
77.
75. Another push. Man, he's also good in Independence Day, too, when he shot
Yes.
the
Yeah,
alien.
the
Christy
crazy-
Brinkley. How old is model Christy Brinkley?
She 50? I'll say 50.
Don't ask me.
Christy Brinkley, 49.
70.
Oh,
Is she
boy.
really?
70 years old today.
Damn.
Shakira. How old is Shakira?
Shakira, 41.
I got to get this one right. I'm going to say 53.
47.
Oh, no.
You think Shakira's older than Christy Brinkley? God, you're the
Well,
best,
I mean,
Dr. Crane.
I love Shakira. She's great.
Shakira.
Let's see. Graham Nash of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
80.
Oh, boy. 75.
82. Chaser Rowland. Sigur Howard Bellamy of the Bellamy Brothers.
85.
Oh, boy. 88.
78. Bass player Ross Valerie of Journey.
73.
62.
75. Chaser 2-0. Actor Michael Talbot was on Miami Vice. He played Switek on Miami Vice. He's also one of the first guys to get beat up by Rambo in First Blood.
72.
77.
69. Let's see, going down here. Rapper Timo from the Goody Mob. How old is rapper Timo?
40.
Never heard of him. 51.
He is 52. So we get one more here real quick at the buzzer. If we have one more, we'll go down here. No. Actor Rich Summer. He was in The Devil Wears Prada and Mad Men. No idea who he is, but he's got
51.
birthday.
47.
46. We got a tie at the buzzer.
Wow.
How about it?
Well done, Dr. Crane. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. That is going to do it for us. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe. And Joe, as always.
As always, to our guys out there, look, it's the weekend. Things might be a little tough for you, but listen, 988 on your cell phone. Reach out, call somebody, talk to somebody. We'll just let you guys know that you are loved and God put you on this earth for a purpose. Know that we love you and our world is a better place because you are here.
Peace, love, and rock and roll. It's Willie D. Mace, and I'm joining later today, Caroline on the afternoon show, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.